So I'm back to the steering shaft shortening, and I think pretty much what I've decided on. This is 12 inches. I could probably make it 8, 9. I'm going to start with 12. I can always cut it down. This is 1 inch outer diameter. So this is DOM tubing, drawn over mandrel. Okay, so the 1 inch fits in the smallest diameter inside here, which is that collar. It's got a 0.156 wall, so times that by 2, subtract it from 1, it gives you 0.688. Now, the thing is the steering shaft is 0.688. So it goes over this, but I can't quite get over that. It's trying to occupy the same space since they're exactly the same dimension. Two things. I can try to sand this down a little bit, kind of thing, but I'd have to sand down a foot. What I'm going to, I think what I'm probably going to do here is I may readjust this to like 8 inches because I think I can, I think I can get in there a good 4 inches. So if I go 8 inches, this is an 11/16, which is 0.688, or right around there. I got to double check that. See that it just wants to go in. So I'm thinking if I just run that in there basically just to clean that hole up a little bit, make sure it's perfectly round, it'll probably slip over there. So since I don't have a longer one, I may do it shorter at this point just to proof of concept kind of thing. And 8 inches ought to be more than stout enough. Basically what it would be is the shaft is going to get cut, beveled, welded, ground, then this will slip over it. Now this will have holes in it for plug welds. Okay, and then I'm not going to weld the outside here because I've read several things and stuff like that, and I don't want to create any kind of stress point on either end of that. So all the plug welds, hell, just 2, 3, 4 plug welds over this surface here would be more than enough to hold it. So I don't think I'm going to need to bother welding on the ends like I did with the other one. The other one that we did on my wife's truck was only like 3 inches long, so kind of had to weld that one on the end. There wasn't room for plug welds. All right, I looked it up. 11/16 is 0.6875, so it's a half a thousandths. 0.6875. Yeah, it's a half thousandth smaller than 0.688. So this may not drill it out big enough, but I'm going to try it and we'll see, and go from there. Let's should scrape a little bit off the inside. Technically this drill bit's a half thousandth smaller than that hole, and it shouldn't take anything out, but we're going to run it in there and see. Overextended my tailstock quill. There we go. Sheesh. So I'm still playing with the lathe and the tubing here for the steering column shortening. Now, anybody familiar with a lathe is this isn't going to be anything new or anything like that. So this is a Morris Taper 3:2 adapter. Okay, the chuck actually has a smaller end in it. Actually, it looks like that, which won't fit in there. You need a number 3 to fit in there. So it just happens to turn out, and I don't know how the heck I get so darn lucky, but I was digging around in my stuff, and I'm pretty sure this is a new drill I just got from GC Mustang. It's a 45/64. That is the next size larger than 11/64, so it will slightly oversize my hole perfectly. So, and looks like it's been used once, but considering how little material I'm going to be removing, it's sharp where it needs to be, kind of thing. So, the tang on the end here, okay, you can see that you gotta kind of line it up there. Now there's a tapered piece of steel that you drive in here and smack it, and that wedges it apart. So what I'm going to do to seat these here is I'm just going to take a let me turn that just a little bit. I'm going to take a block of wood here and just give it a little smack. If it starts slipping, I'll have to smack it a little harder. But hopefully that should be enough. We'll find out here. Let's just turn it over here and run the drill in while we're here. Now I have to make sure that I watch my my quill so I don't overextend my tailstock quill. And I know it goes out to, yeah, there's the limit. Okay, so what I need to do then is basically bring the quill all the way back in and go ahead and run this in. Feel it stop there. That's where it quit drilling. And I'll go ahead and continue on some more. This isn't cutting fluid, this is just a coolant. Just trying to keep some of the temperature down. But this drill bit's certainly long enough. I mean, talk about getting lucky. This drill bit's long enough to flip the thing over, drill it from the other side. I can go 6 inches either way. So I'll be able to do a 12-inch connector. Well, what I found out was at 12 inches, I really had to push it to get the drill bit all the way in, and I was still missing about a ½ an inch. And I decided, you know, I'm just going to cut it down to 10 inches. It makes it a good bit easier, because actually the drilling part of the bit is only 5 inches long. So rather than overextend it and, you know, break some, whatever. Anyway, so I cut it down to 10 inches, finished drilling it out. The inside's nice and clean and that stuff. And there we go. So let's see here. There's a little bit of play there, so I may drill another one to 11/16, and I may, you know, see about sanding down the thing, the shaft. But the reality is, you know, once this is plug welded and everything like that, it's going to be rock solid, and it ought to hold that quite nicely. I don't think that I need a press fit on there, especially since the shaft itself is going to be butt welded back together. Some people would even call that good. I'm not going to, but so we'll see here. I may play with sanding it. The challenge is that this part could get made and shipped, okay, out to guys who want to cut their own column and that stuff. So it could be cut and drilled, and then have all the plug weld holes drilled in and stuff like that. You know, then they could do their own cutting and welding back together and all that kind of stuff. If the steering shaft has to be sanded, not many people could just put it in a lathe and sand this down like I can here. So I'm looking for an option that doesn't require any particular fancy equipment or work on the steering column here. So, any opinions on that? I'm more than open to it. There's a little bit of play there, 15 thousandths maybe total, something like that. So, yeah. I mean, like I said, I may take a short piece and drill it out 5/16 and then do a little hand sanding on here to see if I can get it down, you know. And if that works, that just might be an option. So this is the drilled one, and I ran the numbers, did the measurements and that stuff. There's about 18 thousandths of play in there, which you know, really isn't bad at all. That would actually allow just a tiny bit of wiggle room and flex in there. I think that's probably just fine. This is kind of what I was hoping for, though. I have a lot less than 10 thousandths of play in here. That's what I was really kind of hoping for. The problem is if I were to keep it 10 inches long, I don't think I could bore it. I might be able to go 6 inches, you know, 3 inch from each side with the boring bar. If I build another boring bar, I could probably go a little better, but I'm already sidetracked off on another project on this from another project as it is. So I may put all this stuff aside and go back to the ball joints for a while and get that done first and then come back and play with this. In case I don't get to it today, this is basically what I'm looking at doing here, is perforating that longer tube with some half-inch holes, okay? Possibly 90 degrees from each other. This is more like, you know, just a third of the way around. I'd punch another one here kind of thing. They're not going to be that close longitudinally, you know, and I'm not going to put any right in the middle of wherever the cut is either. You know, but I'll put at least 4, maybe 6 on each half kind of thing, and that should do the trick. Now this is kind of tight here already with the burrs from the drilling. I had to file them out and that stuff. So a little bit more leeway on the other piece with the bigger bore just might help quite a bit. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and drill some holes in this, do some little bit more steering stuff today, and then move on to the control arm. So anyway, what I wanted to do here real quick is, I actually did this yesterday, but I figured I'd show it today. What I'm doing is I'm just getting a quick centering, okay? I bring that over, I just touch it lightly on the drill, I'll zero that out. Now I know that this tubing is 1 inch, okay? Now keep in mind this is a half-inch drill, so the center of my drill is a 1/4 inch off that wall, okay? So all I need to do to go get to center is to go back this direction 1/4 inch, and there it is. So now I'm going to zero my y-axis, so that way if it does move or anything like that, I don't have to think about which way to go, I just go back to 0, okay? So we got 0 set. Now my motion here is limited, okay? I'm about to hit the stop, so I do that so that, you know, because if I put the tube in here, my drill won't reach out here, okay? And then I'd have to take it out and turn it around. I want to drill it just all at one time. I keep my vise over to the side so that I can clamp stuff to the other side of the table. And if I had a full-size Bridgeport, that would make it a whole lot easier, but I'm going to I've got this stuff marked off at 2 inches, which is roughly close enough. All right, I'll just get that cranked down pretty tight. The parallel's wandering there, but it won't go under the drill. Now I'm putting it under the parallels, or on the parallels, so that I can drill all the way through without hitting anything. If they're far enough apart, they won't hit the drill, and it's not down on the deck, so I won't drill into my vise either. So now I can just drill once and have holes on both sides. And I think instead of 2 inches, I think I'm going to go to 2.5. And then when I rotate it 90 degrees, I'll drill in between those, and I'll end up with 6 holes on each end. None in the middle, because that's where the shaft is going to be welded. And I don't really want to have the shaft welded and have the tubing welded there and create a hard, brittle spot right there. So I'll go on either side of it. And I think we're ready to drill here. It's a little fast. They're turning blue there. That's getting a little hot, and basically that's it's when you get down to this part here where it finally gets out to the full width of the drill bit. For the first part there, it's only drilling in the middle, which actually is spinning a good bit slower, but the cutting speed, surface feet per minute, how fast that edge here is traveling, is a lot faster. So between that and the heat buildup as it goes through, now dawned on me, I want to make sure I go through the bottom half too. And it's probably just heat buildup as it goes through, because that didn't start turning dark until it got close to the bottom of that drill. So it wasn't the outside edges turning black to start with. So basically, I'm going to run it over here 2.5 inches. All right, it doesn't have to be precise, close enough. That's going to leave me 1.5. It's going to leave me a 3-inch section in the middle there with nothing. And then when I turn it 90 degrees, that's going to leave me 1.5 inches in the middle. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so we'll drill this one and then I'll let you go. All right, I'll drill the rest and be back. Doesn't tend to focus very well here, but what I'm going to do is, see, I've got that comes off easy enough, but there's a burr all the way around these, okay? Rather than try to countersink them, because I'd have to rock it way back and forth, I'm just going to clean them up a little bit on the belt grinder so that when I clamp them in the vise, I don't have this burr here clamped in there on the jaws. I'll have, you know, all the rest of the metal. That ought to work pretty nice and smooth. I didn't take off a whole lot to create a bunch of bumps in there, so that ought to work. Working on the setup here a little bit. I want to drill the other holes 90 degrees and in between those. So I've kind of set this up. I'm over at the point where my stop hit, so I wanted to make sure that I got this hole back close enough here that the drills are just simply for measuring. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zero out my X while I'm thinking about it. Now, to get it 90 degrees, okay, I can just stick another 1/2 inch drill bit in here and literally just sight in here, okay? Let's make sure it stays down there. And I'm holding it flat against the bottom there. And that's certainly close enough. So let's tighten that up. And that ought to be close enough. So now I just need to move back. I put it back on my Y-axis. That's good. Let's go to 1.25 inches, which should be right in the middle of 2.5, right? I drilled 2.5 on center, so 1.25 inches on the center. That ought to work. And I slowed the speed down. I slowed it down too far the first time, and it grabbed it too hard and pulled it down through. It's just about right now. I'm getting a little heat there, but not near as much as I did before. All right. I've got a couple more of those to do, and that's about it. Actually, I think just I just want to get an idea here. This is fresh off the mill with the drill and everything. Still burrs around the last two sets. There's still some burrs inside. I'm just kind of curious. All right, cool. It will still go on and off with the burrs. If it didn't, and it may be a better idea anyway, drill the holes first, then chuck it up in the lathe, and drill the center out. That would probably make a good bit more sense. That would actually give more room for chips to evacuate too. So now this is just arbitrary at this point. I'm not going to cut it. I haven't quite decided. I know that if that's the edge of my rub mark there from that block, that I don't want the end of the tube any closer than, let's say, about there. That's the block in the end of the tube. Okay, so just for clarity, so let's say there. So if that's the case, then that's good. So I know I've got a 10-inch block. That's 5 inches about where my cut's going to be. So if I cut that, and then I take out, and this is not completely random, but let's just say 3 inches here. Now I got to figure that out and adjust that for the steering wheel adapter. Okay, but let's say it's 3 inches. Then this section is going to get cut out, And is that, yeah, it's kind of off on the side there, but close enough. So then basically when I put this back on, these two are going to get, this is going to get cut, this is going to get welded back together. But I have that mark there, so I'll know that, boom, that's going to put me right over center. Okay, I don't think it's really going to matter, you know, the orientation of these. I'll be able to plug weld in, you know, what, 6 places on each end, 12 places total. I'm not going to plug weld on the end there, but I think you can see that, you know, that much plug weld is really going to grab that nicely and work just fine. And that's the wife, and she's more important than the video.